Okay, let's unpack this. You know how it goes? You hear stories, maybe see it yourself, people hit a certain financial point, and then boom, their wealth just seems to take off like crazy.
Yeah, it's like they found a secret level or something.
Exactly. Or like activated a cheat code. Charlie Munger, the legendary investor, he famously said, the first $100,000 is the hardest, but you've got to do it.
So what is it about that number, like $100,000? Why does that seem to make such a huge difference? It's a really fascinating convergence point. And what's happening at that $100 K mark, it's not really about, secret investments or anything like that. It's not financial wizardry.
Okay.
It's more about fundamental math, economic principles, finally getting enough scale to really start working for you. They create this powerful momentum. It really is a tipping point.
Right, a tipping point. And that's exactly what we're doing in this deep dive. We're digging into why your net worth can feel like it explodes after you hit $100,000. And maybe even more important, how you can maybe speed run your way to that milestone.
Yeah, get there faster.
We've looked at insights from different experts, people like money strategist Rose Hahn, Nisha on YouTube, to kind of break down these forces and give you real actionable steps, things you can actually apply. This isn't just theory, right? It's about getting your money working harder sooner.
Exactly. Think of it like this. That first $100 K, it isn't just a random number. It's like the critical mass you need for things to really lift off.
Okay, critical mass. I like that.
All right.
So let's jump into the why then. What actually makes this $100,000 figure such a game changer? A lot of experts like money strategist and Nisha, they talk about the snowball effect, right?
Exactly that. Imagine, a snowball right at the top of a hill. When you first push it, it's tiny. It takes real effort just to get it moving.
Yeah, it's work.
But as it starts rolling down, it picks up more snow, gets bigger, and its momentum just builds and builds exponentially. It gets faster, bigger, almost on its own.
Rose Hahn uses a slightly different analogy, but similar idea, the massive flywheel.
Oh, yeah, the flywheel.
Yeah, like this huge, heavy wheel that's incredibly hard to start spinning. You're pushing, sweating, barely seeing it move. But once you get it going, maybe past that $100 K point, it gathers so much momentum, it just spins faster and faster by itself. It becomes this like self-sustaining engine.
And Rose Hahn's own story, it's a perfect example of this. She started back in 2012, and get this, she was at negative $100,000 net worth.
Wow, negative 100K.
Yeah. It took her 5 really tough years until 2017 just to claw her way back to zero.
5 years just to get to zero.
Right. Then another 3 years until 2020 just to hit $30,000. But then, this is where the flywheel analogy really hits home. She crossed $100,000 that same year, 2020.
Okay, so things started moving.
Exactly. Then, in just one more year, by 2021, it doubled. $200,000.
Doubled in a year.
Doubled. And then, hold on, just 1 year after that, 2022, she hit $1,000,000.
Oh, from 100K to $1 million in just 2 years, after taking 8 years just to get to that first $100K.
That's the flywheel. That acceleration, it's undeniable. It shows exactly what we're talking about.
That is genuinely mind-bending acceleration.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that, Nisha talks about this a lot, is simply the scale of capital, which sounds kind of obvious when you say it, but the impact is huge.
It really is.
The idea is that the absolute return, the actual dollars you get back, goes up directly with how much you invest, even if the percentage return is exactly the same.
It's just the power of bigger numbers. Money Strategist lays it out clearly. Say you invest $100 in, I don't know, a simple market index fund. You get a decent 10% return. Okay, you made $10.
Okay, $10, not changing your life.
Exactly. But now, put $100,000 into the exact same fund.
Yeah.
Same 10% return. Suddenly, you've earned $10,000.
$10,000.
Yeah.
From the same effort, same risk, same patience.
Precisely. Same inputs, just 1,000 times the outcome in actual dollars. That difference, that's what really fuels the snowball once it gets big enough.
Okay. And this feeds right into the engine driving it all, doesn't it? Compound interest. Einstein supposedly called it the 8th wonder of the world.
He might have, yeah. It's basically earning interest on your interest. Your money starts making money babies.
Money babies. I like that.
It's funny how our brains, they aren't really wired for exponential growth. We tend to underestimate how slow it is at first and then how incredibly fast it gets later. Rose Hahn illustrates this with powers of 2.
Okay.
Like 2 squared is 4, okay? 2 to the power of 5 is 32. 2 to the power of 10 is a FOCAS 1024. Still growing, but maybe not dramatically.
Right. Seems manageable.
But keep going. 2 to the power of 30, it's over 1 billion.
Wow. That's the hockey stick curve people talk about.
Exactly. It's painfully slow initially, and then it just shoots skyward. The trick is you've got to stick with it long enough to get to that steep part of the curve.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this exponential growth just crushes the time it takes to build wealth.
Mm.
Money Strategist and Nisha, they both show this really well. Like getting to that first $100,000, say you save $10,000 a year, get 7% growth, that might take, what, 7 or 8 years?
Yeah, around that. And that's a long time. It takes discipline.
It really does.
Yeah.
But then, once you hit that $100K, getting the next $100,000 only takes about 5 years.
Right, already faster.
And the third $100, less than 4 years. By the time you're near $500,000, each extra 100 grand might only take about 2.5 years.
And then once you crack that $1 million mark, an extra $100,000 can show up in like 15 months.
Yeah.
Just over a year.
That's incredible. The time it takes to make the same amount of money just keeps shrinking. Your capital itself starts doing the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
You can totally see why people describe it as that uphill slog at the start, and then suddenly feeling like their money just took off after $100.
Yeah, it's not just a feeling, it's the math. It's compound interest meeting that scale of capital.
So this leads to the big question, right? If we know compounding and scale are so powerful later on, what can you, the listener, actually do to speed run that first part, that really tough initial phase where you're doing almost all the work yourself?
That's the key question, because let's be real, the hardest part, the most time-consuming bit, is right at the beginning. Compounding hasn't really kicked in yet.
Okay, great setup. So how do we accelerate past that? Let's combine some perspectives. Money Strategist talks about offense, defense, and efficiency.
Right.
Rose Hahn simplifies it to earning money and investing money.
Mm-hmm.
And Nisha really hammers home time and the amount invested, so we can kind of bundle these.
Yeah, they all point to similar levers. Essentially, you've got two sides of that flywheel. How much money you bring in and how well you make that money grow. Let's start with bringing more in. Income.
Okay, lever one, offense, or like Rose Hahn says, earning money. This is about getting more fuel for your snowball. Sounds simple? Maybe. But the impact on hitting $100K faster is huge.
Absolutely huge. Money Strategists give some really direct practical steps. Things like, actively asking for a raise, or maybe switching jobs to a higher paying role.
Or learning a skill.
Yeah, learning a marketable skill. Coding, copywriting, could even be a trade like plumbing. Every extra dollar you earn isn't just savings, it's more capital to invest, more fuel for compounding. It lengthens your runway.
And Rose Hahn really emphasizes proactively adding more value. She tells this great story from an old Wall Street job, and she saw this clunky old Excel pricing sheet everyone used and just rebuilt it, made it way better. Nobody asked her to.
Wow. Initiative.
Exactly. That kind of thing, showing value, made her indispensable.
Yeah.
Gave her massive leverage when it came time to talk about pay.
And it's not just doing the value, you have to ask for the recognition, right? Rose Hahn stresses negotiation. Go into your performance review ready to show, specifically, quantitatively, the value you added.
Yeah, makes a case.
You're not just asking nicely, you're demonstrating why you deserve more based on your contribution.
And for people thinking entrepreneurially, building a business is another way. Rose Hahn admits it's super hard at first. She talks about the early days of her YouTube channel, doing everything herself.
Yeah, the initial grind.
But she explains, once you build systems, maybe get a team, those compounding effects apply to the business too. It becomes its own wealth engine.
Right.
And to shorten that initial grind, she suggests things like finding mentors, coaching, and really thinking about scalability from the start, like choosing an online business model over, say, a physical dance studio because it can reach more people.
So zooming out, what we're really talking about here is changing how you think. Training your brain to ask different questions, like how can I make myself more valuable, or how can I earn more for the value I already provide?
Yeah, shifting from passive to active.
Exactly, actively creating those opportunities.
Okay, that's a powerful mindset shift for earning more.
Yeah.
But like you said, earning's only half of it. What's the next crucial piece once you've got that extra income flowing in?
Well, once you earn it, you got to keep it. That's defense. Controlling your spending.
Ah, defense.
Right. Money Strategist often brings up The Millionaire Next Door, that classic book. It found most millionaires in America weren't, doctors or lawyers with huge salaries. Yeah, they were often ordinary people, teachers, small business owners. But they were masters of controlling spending. They drove, used cars, packed lunches, knew exactly where their money went. It's not about living like a monk.
Just being intentional.
Exactly. Intentionality. Respecting where your money goes.
It's easy to brush this off as just being cheap, but it's deeper than that, isn't it? Before you hit that $100K, maybe even $200K, Every dollar you let slip through your fingers, it's like a missing brick in your foundation.
Totally. It's a dollar that cannot work for you. It can't compound. Money Strategist suggests the $10
The
test.
$10 test.
Yeah, before you make some small impulse buy, just pause. Picture that $10 invested in the market over, say, 30 years, compounding. Suddenly, that little trinket or coffee looks pretty expensive in terms of its future potential.
That's a good mental trick. Changes the perspective.
And it's really important to stress this isn't about misery. Spend money happily on things you genuinely value. Travel, hobbies, things that light you up. The key is finding and plugging the unnoticed leaks. The subscriptions you forgot about, the impulse buys you don't really need, those mindless spending habits, cut those and you build wealth without feeling deprived.
Okay, so offense is earning more, defense is keeping more. That brings us to the third lever, efficiency. Making the money you do keep work as hard as possible for you.
Exactly. This is the investing money part. And the absolute biggest factor here, as both Nisha and Money Strategists really drive home, isn't trying to be a stock-picking genius.
No.
No. It's time. Time in the market. That's your single most powerful ally. Not timing the market, not brilliance, just time.
It's kind of wild how much time matters. Money Strategist has this example. A 22-year-old saves diligently for just 8 years, then stops completely.
Okay.
They can actually end up with more money than someone who starts at 30, saves the exact same amount every year for their whole career, but just started later.
Just because of the extra compounding time for the 22-year-old's money?
Exactly. That early start gave their money so much more time for the exponential curve to work its magic. Every month you wait to start, you're basically chopping off the most valuable part of that curve.
So true. So how do you make sure your investments are efficient? Money Strategist points to a few key things. First, use smart buckets, tax-advantaged accounts.
Like 401ks, Roth IRAs.
Exactly. Shelter that money from taxes as much as legally possible. And if your company offers a 401k match, that's free money. It's like a guaranteed 100% return on that part of your savings. You absolutely have to take it if it's offered.
Okay, what else for efficiency?
Don't let your emergency fund just sit there doing nothing in a checking account, earning basically zero interest.
Right.
Move it to a high-yield savings account, an HYSA. Even now, you can get maybe 4% or so. On $10,000, that's nearly $400 a year extra just for moving your cash. No extra work.
Yeah, that adds up.
And watch out for fees. This is huge. Avoid those traditional mutual funds that charge 1% or more per year. That 1% sounds tiny.
But it compounds against you.
Exactly. It doesn't just take 1% of your initial money. It takes a growing slice of your entire pot year after year. Over a career, it can literally cost you 6 figures in lost growth. Set it to low-cost, broad market index funds. Minimal drag.
And finally, automation. Make it easy on yourself.
Yes. Set up automatic transfers. The day after payday, money goes straight from checking into your investment accounts. It just vanishes before you can spend it. Pay yourself first, consistently, without needing willpower.
So the focus here, as Nisha points out, isn't really about trying to beat the market or squeeze out an extra percent here or there. That's mostly luck and largely out of your control anyway.
Right. The real power comes from consistently increasing the amount you invest through offense and defense, and then just letting time and low-cost diversified investments do the heavy lifting through efficiency.
And when you put all three together, offense, defense, efficiency, it really changes the picture.
Yeah.
Money Strategist shows how someone earning, say, $40,000 a year, if they manage to save a quarter of that.
Which is ambitious, but doable with focus.
Right. And they just park it in simple index funds. They could realistically hit that $100,000 mark in about 5 years.
5 years. That makes it feel tangible, doesn't it? It shows it's achievable with focused effort.
Definitely. But, okay, we keep saying that first part is the hardest, that early slog.
Yeah.
We have to talk about how you actually get through that, right?
Yeah.
How do you overcome the challenges and keep the momentum going when it feels slow?
Yeah, that's critical. Because it does feel slow at first. It's vital to understand that this is normal. It's universal. Nisha explains it really well. The beginning is the hardest and takes the longest because compounding isn't really helping you much yet.
You're doing all the work.
Pretty much. You're pushing the snowball yourself. That's why early financial advice can feel like just deprivation. Cut back, save more. And it can be demoralizing when you save that extra $100 and your net worth barely budges.
Yeah, those small financial wins early on, saving an extra $50 here, investing $100 there, they feel kind of insignificant sometimes, don't they?
They totally can. You look at the big picture, the $100 goal, and it feels like a drop in the ocean. But those small, consistent actions are the path. They are exactly what adds up brick by brick to get you to that first $100,000.
It's the cumulative effect.
Exactly. And once you are there, past that $100 K mark, every win starts feeling bigger, adding up faster. The process becomes more rewarding, which helps with motivation.
Okay, so how do you stay motivated during that long initial phase? When gratification feels so far away, Money Strategist has some cool mental tricks.
Yeah. Like what?
Like thinking of your money not just as numbers, but as tiny employees working for you 24/7.
I like that. Tiny employees.
Or like planting fruit trees where the harvest will eventually multiply on its own. It personifies it, makes it feel more active.
That's a neat perspective shift. It's also important how you handle wins, like a raise. Money Strategist suggests splitting it.
Right.
Maybe half goes to a modest lifestyle upgrade so you don't feel totally deprived.
Prevents burnout.
Right. And the other half goes straight into accelerating your wealth building. And definitely celebrate the wins. Like if you figure out a clever way to save money, acknowledge it. Pat yourself on the back. That positive feedback loop is key.
Roseanne offers another powerful motivator. Thinking about the exchange. What are you actually trading?
The trade-off.
Yeah. You're not just saving money. You're giving up some immediate, maybe trivial gratification now for potentially massive long-term freedom later.
Okay, frame it that way.
Like if investing an extra $1,000 a month means you hit millionaire status 10 years earlier. Think about that. A whole decade of your life where you could travel, pursue passions, not answer to anyone.
10 years of freedom?
Is that worth giving up some extra dinners out or a fancier car now? Framing it as buying back years of your life, years of freedom, makes today's choices feel much more meaningful.
That's powerful. And on a more practical level, just tracking your progress helps, right? Money Strategist recommends a super simple monthly dashboard. Just assets minus debts equals net worth.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Just watching that number tick up, even slowly at first, gives you that visual proof, accountability. And yeah, a little dopamine hit when it goes up. It shows you the curve is bending upwards, even if it feels slow.
So we started this whole deep dive with Charlie Munger saying you have to get that first $100,000. Like, stop eating if you have to, which is extreme, but illustrates the point.
He was serious about its importance.
And as Money Strategist and Roseanne both say, you almost never hear someone regret buckling down to stack that first $100 K. But you hear millions regret waiting, delaying the start.
That feels profoundly true. Getting to $100 K, it might demand a lot. Changing habits, working harder, maybe digging out of debt like Roseanne did. But it's arguably the most crucial financial foundation you can build.
Because it unlocks the real power.
It unlocks the power of your money. And honestly, the discipline, the financial literacy, the mental toughness you build getting there, that's almost as valuable as the money itself.
That's a great point. So let's quickly recap. Your net worth really can accelerate dramatically after $100,000. It's physics, basically. Compounding interest meeting the scale of capital.
Yep. The math just works differently at scale.
And getting there faster comes down to those three levers.